You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain and the Top 10 Gardener Podcast. Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show.
And we are back with Lisa Waters Lane in the studio. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are people talking about? There is a transition going on. Welcome, Lisa.
Oh, yeah. The trees are starting to turn.
Yeah. It's autumn.
Seeing some pretty fall color around. It's really nice.
Yeah. It's like it's summer, like 95. And then it's like fall. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't go right to winter. So
I don't think so. Good. It's pretty nice, but yeah. It's fun watching the fall color. A couple weeks ago, I was looking at our maple tree going, when is that going to start? Yeah. Noticed it this morning, and it's definitely started.
It's definitely going. The ones in the front of the garden center are
like, they're beautiful color. Oh my gosh, beautiful color right
Fall is the best time. I mean, spring, everyone likes spring. Gardeners love spring because they're planting in spring, but it's windy. And it's violently cold, and you're always worried about your plants. And this time of year, it's not windy. No. It's beautiful. It's like the best time of year. Winter is like stay inside, bake cookies. Summer is we should travel. We should go someplace. Where's the next cruise? Where are we going? So fall in the mountains of Arizona is the best.
I agree. It is pretty darn nice.
So what do you think? What's any good questions? Any
questions? Well, it is fall, but the aphids don't know that it's fall. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of problems with aphids right now. Yeah. A lot of it on yucca, the red yuccas. Yeah. A lot of roses are having aphid issues again. So Paula was asking, she's got it on her roses, on her yuccas. Can she use the horticultural oil this time of year to treat for aphids?
So Paula, that is a great question. Now aphids. Now just if you folks driving across town and you're wondering now what was that again? What's an aphid? It's those green little bugs. They like cover the flower of a rose. They go up and down the flower stem, get down in there on the they like the flowers. And they get on there and they attack a plant by the hundreds. And so they can suck the life out of the plant. They actually pierce the plant's tissue, suck the juice out, and it just causes damage. You really don't want them. They love cool nights, bright days. That's their time. So they don't like summer, they don't like winter, they like spring and fall. This is their time, and they'll be with us through really the end of the year. And then by January, it's too cold. And they kind of hibernate underground, or I don't know what they do. They go somewhere. The question from Paula, though, is, can I use a horticultural oil, to kill aphids? Absolutely. Now, here's a secret. Horticultural oil, you should not spray on plants when it's summer-like. So it doesn't, if it's under 90 degrees, go for it. And again, read the label. This is all on the label. But if it's under 90 degrees, you go for it. It's the safest, easiest, most effective bug killer you can have. So highly effective. And basically, unless Paula lives down in Phoenix, you're good to go up here. So yeah, go for it. Spray them. And what I would do is I'd come back in maybe 7-10 days, do it again, because aphids, there's so many of them. They're hard to kill, all of them. So you'll find some are left. So if you go back a second time in a week or so, it knocks them right out. That should get rid of all of your aphid problems.
I would check because I noticed a lot of times this time of year, they're not the aphid, there's something else. The big black brown ones that get on your spruce. They love spruce. They love apples, pines, apple. Yeah. So even though it's a good time to walk out in that yard. Make sure you don't have those insects bugging you.
If you see a glossy rocks or glossiness underneath your plants or on the flowers, or the leaves look wet, but it hasn't rained, your irrigation hasn't run, that's aphid dew or aphid poo. So what we call it, honeydew is what it's actually named as. It's basically they're piercing the sap, pulling the sap out, digesting it, and then excrementing it out the back end, and it lights down on underneath, and so it leaves spots on your car, leaves spots on your driveway, leaves spots. You don't want aphids. Kill them.
Yep.
Horticultural oil is good.
Yeah. Next question is from Shelly. She said, you mentioned a product to help keep your blue spruce blue.
Okay.
She forgot to write it down.
Oh,
So
Shelley.
she wants to know the name of it, and she wants to know when it should be applied.
Yeah, good. So great. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Leave a rating, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. It helps us get ranked. But basically, it was aluminum sulfate. So plants pick up aluminum out of the soil, and they coat the green needles or the green foliage, and it turns it silver or turns it blue color. So you put it down when you're fertilizing. The most important feeding for aluminum sulfate, along with your 744 all-purpose plant food. Now, aluminum sulfate's not an actual food. It's an element. It's a naturally occurring thing that plants like, and they pick it up and go, gosh, I'm so beautiful when I've got aluminum all over my foliage. And so they feel more beautiful when you give them aluminum, but it's not the actual food. You want to actually feed them along with that mineral. So put your all-purpose plant food down anytime now. I would say before hard freeze is ideal. Both of them. So food and the aluminum sulfate. And then pray for rain and snow, and the plant will pick all that up as the seasons change. You'll see buds starting to grow, and it will use all that to elongate that new growth in March, April, really. And then it'll just be beautiful blue at that point. So timing is everything. You want to get it on before the new growth comes out in spring, which is April. I might even do it if you really want to. I mean, if you really want it pretty, oh my gosh, do it now and do it again, like in that spring feeding. If you did it twice, you would have a showstopper of anything blue, junipers, blue, Theodore cedars, blue spruce, obviously,
Arizona
Vanderwolf
cypress.
pine, Arizona cypress. All of those would be spectacular. I mean,
Mhm.
like, whoa, how'd you pull that off? Well, let me tell you. Listen, these goofy gardeners on the radio, and they said use aluminum sulfate.
So this brings up another question, because I've actually had a couple of customers in this week going, where's your winterizer fertilizer?
Oh,
so
yeah.
A lot of people from other parts
Right.
of the country have moved here, and they're looking for a winterizer fertilizer, and we don't have that. Do you want to give a short blurb?
Winterizers, fertilizers are complicated, but not really. Let me just simplify this for you. So that's a synthetic fertilizer. So they're using a different ammonium nitrate. That's what they make bombs out of. That's an ammonium nitrate mixture of synthetic fertilizer. And so you switch it up so the plants can absorb that through a cold climate. In the summer, they don't pick up that. They pick up sulfates, not nitrates. And so it kind of changes. So they'll change up the formula. If you're using organic fertilizer, and you should, we encourage that. In fact, that's all we sell here at Waters Garden Center. We want to move people over to organics because it's safer. We're all drinking groundwater in the mountains of Arizona. We don't want those chemicals to be in the water basins, in your well. And so we've put two blends together that are all organic. The beauty with organics are they break down much slower over a longer period of time, and plants digest or absorb all of that chemical, all of the organics. Chemicals, many of those flush out, and half of it's not even used. It just dissipates, or the plant can't get to it, or a heavy rain will flush it downstream. It's just, we need to be using organics. I'm a strong believer. We're on our soapbox a little bit, but that's the difference. When you hear winterizers, those are synthetic fertilizers. So basically variations of petroleum products. Or organics, we're using cottonseed meal and bird guano and sulfur and iron and some other stuff that just plants like better, especially where we have not a lot of food in our soils. We just don't have a rich soil. We don't have topsoil. And so plants prefer a much longer, slower released organic, and it feeds not just the plants. An organic will feed the worms, the mycorrhizal colonies. It feeds the soil and the plant, whereas synthetic fertilizers, they burn things in the soil. I mean, worms hate. They really dislike chemicals. They'll run away because it's burning them in the soil. So you're better off using organics. It will attract more wildlife, living, breathing organisms that plants need to symbiotically work with. I'm going too deep into this. It's really a good thing. Organics are better. Use organics. 744 all-purpose plant food, aluminum sulfate. There we go. We are out of time, just like that. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back.
Feed your plants now for bigger, brighter, better fruit in spring.
Water's 644 fruit tree food is safely organic with added calcium for sweeter fruit quality.
Far safer for your pets and birds than those chemical fertilizers the box store sells.
And it's kinder on the environment, too.
Simply sprinkle on the soil and water it in.
Bigger, brighter, and better fruits in spring.
Get yours today at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Natural, safe, organic.
You're listening to Ken Lain, a.k.a. the Top 10 Gardener. Ken can be found throughout the week in Prescott at Waters Family Garden Center. Listen daily as he answers the top 10 questions of the week, streaming on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts.